Okay, here we are again. And I'd like you to welcome Enock, Ssekuubwa, doctor, right? Lecturer with Makerere University, Makerere area. He is a fellow, part of the 2013 cohort. And it's really nice, as always, to welcome former fellows back to Grow LRT. So this is the third one this year. We had one last year, so I guess according to that, we will have 6 next year or 7 if it continues, the increase. I see here on your slides that you say the name of your presentation, how the Grow UNU LRT in 2013 has shaped my professional career. And I'm going to give the floor to Enock, but afterwards we will have minutes also if there are some questions from you. Then we have to remember to use this one. Okay, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, as I've already been introduced, my name is Enock Ssekuubwa. I am a lecturer at the Department of Forestry, Biodiversity and Tourism, Makerere University, and I was here in 2013. So a few things have changed here. We used to have an entrance here, it is no longer here. So to start with, I'll talk about my experience participating in the LRT program in 2013. But before I go further, I would like to recognize the presence of my colleagues at the back. And I should mention that 2 are my teachers, Professor Gerard Eiru, Dr. Daniel Waiswa. But I also have 2 other teachers behind. My teacher on sustainable land management issues, and and Britta. I think she coached me very well. Yeah, thank you very much for coming. So in terms of my experience here, it is drawn from the courses and the interactions we had in 2013 as fellows. We were a group of 11 fellows from 8 countries, and this is the group: Zutu from Malawi, Azamat and Zildis from Kyrgyzstan, Idrissa from Niger, myself, Salif Wahabu from Ghana, Mohamadu from Niger, Olive Chemtai from Uganda, Nadia from Mongolia, Clara from Namibia, Mekeb from Ethiopia. That is the group. And to start with, when I came to Iceland, I had just been asked to teach a course on restoration ecology, a course I had not studied before. And coming here, I found a diverse curriculum on these aspects of land restoration. So to me, it was a learning experience in terms of how much we can talk about as far as training people on landscape, or rather land restoration. And the courses were drawn from several modules, 6 modules. I think it has not changed much. There was a module on orientation and introduction to Icelandic society. I remember here we had the Easter project where we had the opportunity to interact with the several people in Iceland. Then a course on cost principles and frameworks, fundamentals of land management planning, implementation, and evaluation. So the lectures and the field visits, as well as the practicals, were based on these modules. Then we had 34 lecturers. This rarely happens. We were 11 fellows being taught by 34 lecturers. And I appreciate the efforts by my teachers. I can see BB, then HF, HT, SV. These were directly involved in running the program. So also, we had several presentations drawn from several topics, but mainly these were informed by what happens in our countries. We made a presentation on restoration needs from our country. I and Oliver and I made that presentation. We also had another presentation on museums and art galleries here. It was interesting to move around and look what is out there. I think you have also had the same. So this was a group of 3 people. Then we made a presentation on a landscape in Uganda, which is found in a district called Nakasongola. We were looking at how the land there can be restored. And a wonderful presentation on how research is organized in Uganda, linking knowledge and action. To me, it was interesting to present about what is happening in our countries, because that would contribute directly to what we were learning here. But I think the individual project shaped me a lot. I was supervised by a very nice gentleman called Hardo, who used to work with the Iceland Forest Service. And for all the meetings, during the meetings I met him, there was Bagland. Before I talk about what I did with the Hardo, Baglin's work was mainly to look at the academic writing. And I can tell you, I learned a lot from those sessions I had with the Baglin. When I came here, I had just finished my master's, and I had big plans for undertaking a PhD study program. So those trainings on academic writing were crucial and informed the next steps of my studies. With Hardo, who supervised the bulk of the work, it was interesting to discuss the research and also the study sites. I collected my data in Gunnarsholt, where several revegetation methods were being implemented. So the study was mainly on microbial assemblages. I am an ecologist, so I like talking about communities of both plants, animals, and these other organisms. So I looked at microbial assemblages in Icelandic soils under different revegetation methods. So these revegetation methods are laid out in Gunnarsholt and several other sites in Iceland, including Keldnaholt. I collected data also from around. The objectives of the study were to identify groups of microorganisms in Icelandic soils under different revegetation methods, to assess the relative abundance of microbial groups in Icelandic soils under different revegetation methods, and to assess the effect of time of revegetation on microbial assemblages of Icelandic soils. I can tell you the only difference between this individual project and my PhD research is, first of all, the study organisms, because for the PhD I looked at plants and animals, and the country of investigation, which is Uganda for the PhD. So you can see that the individual project really shaped my PhD studies. So we also had an opportunity to attend an international conference here. It was on soil carbon sequestration. It was organized between 27th to 29th May 2013. So I'm also back in May. I don't know whether there is another conference going on. But our presentation was made by Clara. So the group thought she was the best person to represent the team. Our topic was soil carbon and the quest for land quality, experiences from Africa and Central Asia. I can see myself here. In this picture, I closed my eyes. I don't know why. So now, based on what I've presented as the experience in 2013 while I was here, I would like to share with you how that has, first of all, contributed to my teaching at university, specifically on restoration ecology. So I told you when I traveled to Iceland, I had just been asked to teach a course on restoration ecology. And I had not taught restoration ecology before. I had also not studied restoration ecology. And there was a big challenge on my side. So when I came here, I was able to understand what I could include in the course. Of course, there were some materials which had been developed by the team that developed the curriculum of the program. But to teach those concepts, I had to be introduced to the subject of restoration. And coming here was a good opportunity for me to learn, especially the course principles and the frameworks. Then the field visits to the farmers and the discussions we had as the group really informed me on how, rather which practicals to include for my students. And above all, I got a very good stipend while I was here. And using the stipend, I acquired some books. One book on ecological restoration, which I like using when I'm teaching how to measure restoration success. Then this book by Grevson, I use it a lot, especially at the beginning of the course. Repairing damaged wetlands by Wisnat. I also have a module on repairing damaged wetlands, and most of the aspects I teach there are informed by Wisnat. I also teach other courses at university, and one of those other courses is wildlife ecology and management. So I was able to buy a book for myself and my professor. This is the book I bought. So I bought 2 books on wildlife ecology, conservation, and I can tell you my professor was very happy. In terms of the professional career, here I talk about research, supervision of students, and other engagements. First of all, while I was here, I interacted with a fellow from Niger, Muhammadu. Muhammadu talked a lot about farmer-managed natural regeneration. And I picked this concept. When I went back home, there was a call for research. And when I looked at the criteria for winning a grant in that call, there was an aspect of contribution to community. I looked at the ecology I do, they did not have direct impact. So, and I also didn't want to do something that would not contribute to my career. So I remembered our discussions here and with Muhammadu on farmer-managed natural regeneration. And so I wrote a concept on farmer-managed natural regeneration, and I was able to win a grant, $35,800 US, which I conducted for my postdoctoral training. Then recently, I received a request from my colleague Clara in Namibia, a request to examine her PhD student. And of course, I accepted to examine. It comes with payment. So I accepted to examine the PhD thesis. I can tell you the PhD thesis was very good. And actually, the student was among the best students that year at her university. But I learned about her good performance at university in terms of the thesis after I had examined the work. So I also did a good job because I found the thesis very good. So, so that is, yeah, these opportunities, first of all, have been informed by our discussions with the former fellows, continued collaborations, and continued communication among the former fellows. Then the training program did not abandon me. They gave me an opportunity in 2018 to come here and present a poster at the European Conference on Restoration in 2018. So this letter was communicating, was written to me, thanking me for submitting the abstract. And they were informing me that it was a pleasure, of the scientific committee to accept my abstract for poster presentation. So then it is because of this training I learned about the Society for Ecological Restoration. I am a member of the society, and I contribute to almost all activities by the society, including conference evaluation of abstracts. I am on the committee evaluating the abstracts for the conference in Denver. You can see my name here. So I have already mentioned that the individual project informed my PhD research, and I just put the title of my PhD research here for you to see: ecological attributes of restored tropical forests in Chibaye National Park in Western Uganda. Chibaye National Park in Uganda is a protected area, and in that park, there are two methods that have been used to restore forests: active restoration involving planting, and passive restoration managing successional processes. So in terms of the objectives, I looked at seed removal, as an ecological process. I looked at seedling colonization, successional patterns, and the productivity. Comparing those different attributes in actively and passively restored tropical forests. So you can see the two methods of revegetation, which are also in my individual project. And then these are biotic communities, which I was also studying. Around the time I wrote the paper, the second paper of my work, Professor Asa also released the paper on seedling colonization. So I used it effectively, and my paper was also accepted. So you can see even the works by staff have continued to inform what I do. I also supervise students on restoration studies. This student was looking at assessment of restoration success in one of the protected areas, Herbert Chitivo. I supervised him with the Professor Gerard Yiru. I have also supervised another student looking at patterns and determinants of tree mortality under assisted natural regeneration in Chivale National Park. And recently, I had a student looking at tree diversity and above ground carbon under farmer-managed natural regeneration in Uganda's drylands. Andrew Ssekuubwa. Other works in terms of restoration include the studies I conduct. So I've been doing several studies, but to me, these stand out. Although this paper has not been read, rather cited much, but it is I like it very much because I talk a lot about how success should be measured, but it has not been cited a lot. I don't know why. Yes. I thank you for listening.
Thank you, Enock, for a very interesting presentation. And I'm happy to hear that your participation in the training program has really impacted your professional life. It's quite obvious from that PhD, that doing your PhD, building it on the individual project you did here, and also how successful you have been as a researcher and publishing, even though maybe one paper has not got the citation you expected, but who knows? Who knows? It can happen in 1 or 2 years. But I have to say what was really extra sweet was when you were telling us about the fellows in your cohort. You know, the informal conversation you had here.
Yes.
That gave you an idea for a concept note. And then that Clara from Namibia had asked you all these years later, right?
Yes.
To be an external reviewer on a PhD thesis. So this is what we mean where the interaction between you, whether it's here in the classroom or outside in the corridor over coffee or tea, or back at the grow house, that this is just integrated in part of the training, that you communicate among yourselves, right? And then that now in this group, you have friends and colleagues for the rest of your life, and you never know when they call you up. It could be to be a reviewer for a PhD thesis, or I don't know, and all these years later as well. So, and these are also important stories for me and us to tell others, other fellows, also when we are introducing the training to people and convincing management to allow their staff to go on a 6-month leave to come here. Anyway, I was not going to do all the talking. Questions for Enock? I know it's late in the afternoon. It's been a long day, but still, you must have one or two. Okay, your professor.
Yes.
You have a comment.
I don't know about this, so you tell me.
You just want it.
Okay, thank you. I just feel like Enock has given maybe even half the story, because in our department, he has been the examinations coordinator and is also course coordinator for the forestry programs. So he does really a lot, and is a very crucial member that takes care of the academic programs. And I mean, that's the backbone of the university, the quality of the work and so on. So I just felt he should have mentioned this, that he doesn't.
He's so humble, right? Yes. Oh, Daniel.
Thank you very much. He said they were not going to ask for me. I'll ask, because I'm also learning. You know, learning never stops. So we've been together with him. He was, as he told you, was my student. He's a colleague. If he had not mentioned that, I wouldn't say it. We are colleagues. But Enock, you showed that photo of the fellows of 2013. And I would just want to hear from you. How have you been able to manage to keep together? Because after all of those years, this one is on this and this. How have you been able to do that? I would want to learn that. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much. I think what has been important is the training program communicates to us through a mailing list, which has contacts for all former fellows. So it is through those mailing lists that we are able to, you can pick out your colleagues and communicate directly to them. Of course, as you do expect, some colleagues have not responded to some emails. But also, if you reflect on what is happening in their countries, some countries have some challenges, political stability, wars. So sometimes you understand why they don't respond. Yeah, so it is through the mailing list. But also, what I didn't talk about was, I'm told these fellows have not had that opportunity, but the time we spent in at Gunasort, 3 months away from the city, interacting with one another, I think strengthened the bond. That strengthened the bond because you had to find of engaging with one another for 3 months. You are talking to 11 people for 3 months. So that strengthened the bond. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe just a comment on that up till 2021, the fellows would spend almost 3 months in Gunnarsholt. You went for what, 2 days, full day visit, right? So and it's midsummer, so it was quiet. So you just had each other. But hey, but that's also part of being here. You live together in the grow house. It's also to get along and make the group work. Wonderful. Christina.
Thank you. Right. Thank you, Doc, for the presentation. I'm amazed to learn that during the 6 months that you were in Iceland, you got a lot from the project, which transformed your career. You have taught us how the project, how the 6 months fellowship helped to transform your career. Now, I would love to learn from you. What is it that you did to make sure that you get the most from the fellowship? And maybe something that, as current fellows, we have to be aware of if we need to adjust so that 10 years from now, we should also tell a beautiful story of our 6 months in Iceland. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I think my condition was a bit different because I told you back home, I had been asked to teach a course. And that is, Makerere University is among the best universities in Africa. I had to kind of improving myself to be able to work with the professors. So I really came with a target of maximizing the training. And I'm also good at making friends. So I was able to understand my colleagues, and that also helped them to understand me. And that has kept the bond together. Yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Maxwell from Malawi, Department of Mines. Zutu is my boss, my immediate boss. Mine is just a comment. I am impressed how you have made the presentation and how you have, like the previous speakers said, kept each other in contact, and also how you have made the visibility in your country. Regionally, you have talked about Clara and others, and also at international level, you have talked about the conferences, and most importantly, how you could remember the names of each one of them. No, that was so amazing. 2013, it's like 12 years now. I don't know after 10 years whether I'll be able to remember my friend here. But I think that's that's something that I think has spoken a lot of words to us. The presentation might not be so long, but there are a lot of lessons that we have learned. How you could share your experiences when you were here. How you could remember the names, the interaction with your supervisor. No, that was so good. I think it's just unfortunate that you are coming at the end of our, like, the course itself, because we are now going into much of the individual project. We could have loved maybe if you come at the beginning so that we learn these lessons, experiences, and then apply them throughout the whole 6 months. It would have meant a lot to us. But otherwise, we are so thankful. We have learned a lot, and also you have shared how personally it has shaped you as an individual, how it's also of benefit to the country. You have talked about Namibia, supervising a student from Namibia. As a continent Africa, we are also benefiting from you. And also how you have tried to engage each other at the university level. From my department, I think I can be able to remember 4. There is Zutu and the 3 others. I think, yeah, 3 others that came before me. But I've never seen them talking about the restoration issues and the like, or making efforts that as a department, we should do something on these issues. But it's amazing to see how the work that you're doing as a university. I think I've personally learned a lot, and I'm sure going back home, I will initiate something so that we should also be of benefit to our department and then at the national level. And also the university, how they have introduced the ecology program. Yeah, that's so important because now it's sharing the knowledge. Not everyone can have the opportunity to come to Iceland, but through these programs, you are able to build the capacity to share the knowledge so that it benefits the country at large. So all in all, I am impressed, and no, you are a genius. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to comment?
No.
No.
Yeah. I'm Jablani Clifford Pterombo Gamangadazi Matisse from Malawi. In Africa, due to high population and as well as poverty, yeah, a lot of pressure is being exerted on the different ecosystems, so they have degraded. So restoration activities normally depends on the donor-funded programs. So in your, as election, your own opinion, what African government should do in order to make sure that there is the sustainability of these restoration programs, and again, not depending much on donor funded projects. So, in your opinion, what strategies African governments should do in order to ensure sustainability of restoration activities? Thank you. If I
Yes,
my question is great.
it is very clear. Yes. First of all, what they should do, they are already doing certain things. First of all, by giving us permission to come. For example, being away from work for 6 months to come and undertake a training. You are picking a skill, and you hope that you'll be able to use the knowledge and skills when you go back to contribute to the sustainability of all those efforts. And what they should do is to fund, create a fund for ecosystem restoration to be able to sustain these interventions. So, of course, funding is a big challenge. There are many priorities, but where possible, we need to create a fund to sustain these interventions. As you may have noticed in your country, many projects collapse at the end of the donor funding. And the only way to sustain these if we can directly fund these interventions. Yeah.
Last question?
Yeah, one more.
Oh, he keeps going.
Not to but to grow LRT. This is just a request. Therefore, I think for future fellows that are coming, I would suggest that maybe you include these at the beginning. They might not be able to come here, but there are a lot of technologies these days. You can arrange some virtual, the first week, 2-3 people from different countries. They are able to share a 15 minutes presentation. It will inspire the fellows, and then it will they'll get something out of it. Yeah, thank you.
Well taken suggestion, but still you still have 3 months to go to make most of it. Peter, do you want?
sad to hear that you have not gotten anything out of it so far. No, I'm just joking, just joking. So Enock, very interesting to hear what has happened since you were here, but also then what you brought with you. But I also want to hear, because of course here, the way we do teaching, and feedback and so on, it might be different than what happens in your countries, maybe in your university. So I'm just interested to know if the teaching methods, delivery methods somehow have also affected your teaching, not only that the program has affected the content of what you're teaching.
Okay, thank you for that question. Indeed, the teaching methods are different. And one of the reasons as to why they are different is for most of the courses we teach, they run for a short time. You have 3 hours every week, while for this training program, you have 5 days a week. So what you can fit in that time is short. So here we see that field sessions complement the classroom for almost every aspect you are introduced to. While in my country, it may be very difficult for you to organize field sessions for every aspect you teach. So you pick out what you think you can do in that short time. But of course, I picked some of these aspects. One of the major challenges young teachers have is how to plan for practicals or for discussions for students. In most cases, they don't know how to go about those. And for me, as a person who is employed as a lecturer, it was interesting to learn how to integrate the discussions and the lecture materials. And indeed, these have directly improved my teaching. There is a term we call recess term, which is like a summer semester, where we have an extended period engaging with the students away from class in the field. And we use these approaches in teaching such that the students understand what we teach. So directly, the teaching methods influenced how I teach back home. And what I didn't mention is throughout the training, I picked something. Most of the teachers would always want to know what you think about something before they come to talk about whatever they have come to teach. And usually you find that the students know almost half of what you have come to teach. I think it was important to understand, rather to pick that approach of allowing students to always discuss what they think about what you have come to teach before you engage, because that makes your work easier and also focused on what should be the important aspects to talk about. Yes, thank you.
Okay, final question, comments, anyone? Okay, and Enock and his team, they will be with us till Wednesday next week. So, and we will have meetings here. So you have an opportunity to catch up with him tomorrow, Friday, and next week if you have questions or thoughts or comments. And Enock, thank you so much for your presentation. Thank you so much for coming back. And thank you for inspiring class of 2025.
You're welcome.
Yeah.